I am Viktor Orbán, Prime Minister of Hungary. The resignation letter is already public. Katalin Novak stepped down 2 days ago. She admitted she signed a pardon in 2023 for a man convicted of covering up child sexual abuse in a state-run orphanage. The document carried her name. The government carries mine. By the time I wake up, Budapest is already chanting. Tens of thousands in the streets. Not for her, for accountability. International headlines say Hungary. They mean me. I did not sign the pardon, but Novak was my ally. Fidesz is my party. The government is my structure. For years I built policy around the language of child protection, family values, zero tolerance. Now every speech replays beside that pardon. Every law sounds rehearsed. My name enters rooms before I do. Advisors lower their voices. They choose verbs carefully. No one asks direct questions. They present options: stability, containment, damage control. Security still opens doors automatically. Motorcades still clear traffic. Parliament still stands when I enter. Power does not hesitate. People do. Protest footage loops on every screen in the building. Crowds in front of the presidential palace. Crowds along the Danube. The opposition calls it hypocrisy. Foreign press calls it a credibility crisis. Some call it the worst scandal of my government in years. No one calls it minor. I sit at the head of the table. Ministers avoid eye contact, then overcorrect. Too much agreement, too much discipline. No one wants to misstep in front of a damaged name. I feel the adjustment everywhere. Conversations shortened. Messages filtered. Statements rewritten before I see them. The system still functions. Bills move. Votes count. Orders are followed. But now, every action carries a second question: what did he know? I don't answer it. I don't need to. The question is already attached to me. 2. I wake before the briefings arrive. The first instruction from communications is already waiting on my desk. No unscripted remarks. No references to the pardon. No deviation from the prepared language on child protection. I cancel the prepared language. At 8 a.m. I call an emergency cabinet meeting. Not about the economy. Not about Brussels. About the pardon. The room tightens when I say the word out loud. Advisors exchange glances. One of them reminds me the legal review is still ongoing. Another suggests we avoid amplifying opposition narratives. I tell them I want the full internal timeline. Who knew? When they knew. Who recommended the file? Silence stretches. They were not prepared for that question from me. By 9:30, the communications director pulls me aside. He says markets react to instability. He says foreign press is waiting for a misstep. He says my voice will be dissected frame by frame. I schedule a press appearance anyway. Not a statement. Questions. He goes pale. The party leadership calls within minutes. They advise caution. They remind me that resignation ended the immediate crisis. They say reopening details creates legal exposure. I ask for the investigative documents to be released publicly. Redactions only where legally required. My phone vibrates nonstop. Prime Minister pressures internal review. Orbán distances himself from former ally. Power struggle inside Fidesz. I have not distanced myself. I have not accused anyone. I have only asked for paper. At noon, I walk into Parliament without announcing it. Cameras scramble. Reporters shout the same question: did you know about the pardon? I do not answer yes or no. I say the Hungarian public will see the full record. Within minutes, headlines change. Orbán refuses to deny knowledge. Refusal becomes admission. Transparency becomes suspicion. Inside the chamber, members of my own party avoid standing too quickly. The choreography is off. Applause arrives half a second late. Institutional fear is subtle. It shows in hesitation. After lunch, I meet with child protection advocates. Normally, this would be staged. Handshakes, prepared remarks. Today, I tell my team to stay outside. The activists speak directly. They describe systemic failures in state institutions. They mention the orphanage. They mention political shielding. They watch my face carefully, waiting for defensiveness. I take notes instead. By mid-afternoon, a news alert appears: Orbán meets critics. In closed-door session damage control, no one considers the possibility of listening. At 4 p.m., legal counsel advises me to stop using the word pardon. They suggest constitutional clemency process, less emotional, less volatile. I use pardon again during a regional governor call. The governor later releases a statement, clarifying that local authorities had no involvement. He was not accused. He still felt the need to clarify. My name has turned ordinary sentences into legal threats. In the evening, I approve the release of a summary of internal communications from 2023. Not the full archive. Enough to show process. Communication staff warn that partial transparency invites deeper digging. I tell them digging is already happening. Within an hour, selective document dump raises new questions. Why not release everything? If I release nothing, I am hiding. If I release something, I am calculating. Truth no longer stands on its own. It bends under association. At 8 p.m., I record a short address. No flags behind me. No party logos. I say the government failed to anticipate the public impact of the pardon. I say the standards we promote must apply internally. Before it airs, 3 aides suggest removing the word failed. Too strong. Legally ambiguous. Politically exploitable. I leave it in. The next morning's preview headline appears online within minutes. Orbán admits failure. Markets fluctuate slightly. Opposition demands investigation into my office. Foreign commentators speculate about succession scenarios. I did not confess to wrongdoing. I did not deny it. I described a failure of anticipation. In this atmosphere, nuance collapses. Every sentence I speak becomes evidence for someone. Every pause becomes strategy. I can feel the edges of authority thinning. Compliance still exists, but it is conditional now. Measured. I know this power is temporary. Scandal accelerates time. So I keep speaking in ways they consider unsafe. I keep asking questions that unsettle my own structure. Not to repair reputation, not to provoke collapse, but because silence now would be interpreted as proof. And in this version of power, even restraint is suspicious. 3. The building empties slowly. Staff leave in careful intervals, as if departure itself might be photographed. Security remains. They always remain. I stay in the office longer than necessary. The screens still glow with analysis. Panel discussions replay my words from hours ago. Failure. They repeat it like a confession. I have signed dozens of decrees in this room. Tonight, I sign nothing. The cost is not immediate removal. It is something quieter. Every call is recorded. Every corridor carries witnesses. Even silence is archived. Fame used to mean amplification. Now it means surveillance. I notice how often I rehearse sentences before speaking them. How instinctively I calculate interpretations. Not legality. Not morality. Interpretation. Power still answers when I dial. Ministers still respond on the first ring. But their tone is shifted. Careful. Measured. defensive. Influence does not disappear all at once. It thins. Requests become recommendations. Recommendations become suggestions. I can still command, but I can feel the cost of commanding rise. Outside, a small group of protesters remains. Not tens of thousands now, just a few. They hold signs under streetlights. My name printed in black. A name can outlast an explanation. I think about tomorrow. Tomorrow I will wake up as myself again. Not the office, not the motorcade, just a man who borrowed this life for a day. The strange part is how easy it was to inhabit. The access, the deference, the choreography of control. It adjusts around you automatically. What does not adjust is the damage. This position does not end when the day ends. It lingers in headlines, in archived footage, in whispered calculations inside party meetings. Reputation is not an event, it is a condition. I get to step away from it, he does not. When I leave the office, the hallway lights dim behind me. Security walks 2 steps back, not beside me. Protection can look like distance. I realize something uncomfortable. Power is loud when you first touch it, but it is fragile when you hold it too long. It depends on perception, on alignment, on the willingness of others to keep believing. Tonight, that belief feels conditional. Tomorrow, I return to anonymity. No cameras tracking my pauses. No headlines parsing my verbs. But I will remember how quickly authority can curdle into scrutiny. How a name can become radioactive without a single court ruling. Power is not permanent. It is rented. And some people never get to move out. This video is a fictional satirical thought experiment. It does not represent the real thoughts, intentions, decisions, or private life of Viktor Orbán, Prime Minister of Hungary. The narrative is an imaginative exploration of how power, scandal, media pressure, and public perception can shape a leader's experience in moments of crisis. It is intended as social commentary on fame, reputation, and institutional authority, not as biography, factual reporting, or accusation. Any resemblance to specific internal conversations or personal reflections is purely speculative and created for storytelling purposes only.